This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast to help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness podcast, where I talk to professionals in the field and also everyday people about their journey in health and fitness to help inspire others to live their best life. And today we have on with us Peter Jomides. Hi, Peter. How you doing?
Hi, Angela. How are you? So nice to see you.
Great. I'm doing really good. Peter is a trainer that used to work with me at a gym that we both worked at for quite a few years until they closed down. We got to know each other really well, and his style of training is very good, and he impressed me. So it's a good reason to have you on the show, Peter. Let's go ahead and go way back to when you were younger and you had an interest in the health and fitness field. How did that all start? Who inspired you?
I would have to say that growing up and being, born in like 79, that a lot of the films that were out at that time, I would have to say that really kind of watching them over and over again, coming home from school and seeing them and this and that, you got your Sylvester Stallone, Rocky movies, you had your Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator, Commando, and all these type of, I really do believe though, seeing all these films that as an adult, I have to say that it was really Sylvester Stallone that really delivered fitness to America. I really believe that because before that, you had your gym goers who were, Steve Reeves and these guys, and even Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s with winning Mr. Olympia like 7-8 times. Not everyone knew about that type of training. And the second Hollywood glamorized it with the 80s genre of action films, and everybody had their shirt off. And then growing up in that time, seeing that and like being like, man, and we, all the boys would talk about it at school and the one arm push up and the raw eggs. And we tried all that as kids, and I would have to say though, around 11 or 12, I was enrolled in martial arts. And because, of course, another hot actor on the scene with muscles was Jean-Claude Van Damme. And not only was he like, Bruce Lee in some of these movies in the 70s, early 70s, they would hardly be on. And when they were on, I wouldn't be able to see them, or they were dubbed in from Chinese to English. And so once I think those martial arts movies started getting a little bit more Hollywood jazzed up and, technology with Hollywood was starting to make these films look really good, Jean-Claude Van Damme was on the scene. I was loving it. I was practicing these kicks and stuff in the house, even before I was enrolled in Taekwondo. And my dad actually had gotten sick. And when he was sick, he told my mom, he said, listen, I want to enroll him in karate to, one day I might not be here and I wanted to learn how to defend himself. And so I really do have to say that the discipline of me doing what I do now has been literally put in concrete way back when. So the martial arts, the way they ran their school, they weren't American, they were Korean. So it was like old school martial arts training and discipline. And that kind of set the bar in my own head as to, okay, this has to be done over and over again. This is something that's got to be worked on. And it's not like something you could buy at a store and you have it and then it's there when you need it. So it was then that I'm like, okay, this is hard, this is painful. And then from there, I would have to say, you hit 17, 18, you join a gym, you're starting to see how everybody else in there is you got your normal gym goers who are seeing results and they're older. All the guys were older than me. And that's how you learn, Angela. Like, this, like,
Yeah.
some of the things you did, and I've seen you in the way you train, teaches someone like me, because that's where wisdom comes from. It comes from doing it. And you can learn all the books in the world and read all the books in the world, but once you start doing it, it's on a whole nother level. And I would have to say that it was around 18, 19 still doing the martial arts, but at the same time now incorporating the weights. Then I'm like, wait a minute, that's how Jean-Claude Van Damme got his body. That's how Sylvester Stallone got that physique. It's hours and hours and hours. And like, when you meet someone, a potential new client, and they say, and I've had this, hey, Peter, this picture here, I would love to look like that. What's the chance? What do you think? 3 months? And in my mind, I'm like, 3 months will get you a good start. But this picture here is 20 years of this person doing this. It's a lifestyle. And that's what I've come to realize as time went on. Getting into this business, I didn't start out that way. I was, up in New Jersey before I moved here. And I was working for a construction company. Once I got like, let's say a year before I got married, I started in a construction company that taught me the whole workout about being strong in the construction field. Doesn't necessarily mean you look nice and proportionate. I mean, you have a lot of men in the construction field who haul lumber all day long or haul mason blocks all day long, way stronger than I am, but does it look like that guy in Hollywood? And so I realized, well, the construction field will get you strong, but the gym will make you look nice. And I learned that a long time ago.
Very good. And you ran with it.
And I ran with it.
And stayed with it. So did you ever have any struggles throughout your life where you didn't keep up on your workouts, or you went through things in your life where it fell aside? And if so, how were you able to get yourself back? Because that's the hardest thing for people.
I have to be completely honest with you. Once this started becoming, I would have to say, once I got married, I was about 20. I met Melissa, I was 23, 22, probably 22. Got married at 24. Had Juliet around 25, 26. But I have to tell you, the whole dating and courting thing, the gym is there. And all my memories and what my knowledge of martial arts there, but you're thinking about making money. You're thinking about the future and things like that. But it was really probably, I would have to say 25 is when I really turned the switch on and said, okay, this is not just something that can be done once in a while, because like everybody knows, you get married and immediately you put on 5 pounds on honeymoon. And then it's the comfort. But I've never said I want to look good just for meeting a girl. That's not what even martial arts instilled in my brain. It was a way of life, right? Mm-hmm. So I would have to say, Angela, I'm 44 now. From 25 years old to now, I have to tell you, there has not been a week that's gone by where I did not get in workouts, I would have to say 4 days a week.
Excellent.
Unless, I know we had COVID, unless you get a flu and you got to take a couple of days off to heal. But even on vacation, I would have to tell you, we booked a cruise or we booked a trip anywhere. I would find out where the nearest gym was. I would find out if there was nothing. I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'm in a cabin up in Lake George where there's no gyms around. And knowing the exercise, you put, a little paper, a little pencil, and you just go through it and you do it. And I'm telling you right now, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Sure. So do you try to instill that practice into the people that you work with and you're trying to help?
At the moment, you know how the gyms work with selling. Okay, here's a new person, here's a folder. So since I would have to say full-time doing this, I must have been full-time doing this. So I got out of the construction industry and said, you know what? Let me try something I really love, and it's my passion. Construction was paying the bills, and it taught me a lot of work ethic and dealing with people and customers and clients in that sense. Okay. And the funny part is when you're in construction, some of the people that are in that field, even the customers, the homeowners, they're not very happy. Their house is getting torn down. They're like, so they're not really in a good frame of mind, right? But the personalities that you meet when somebody walks into a gym, they're putting their troubles in the car, they're leaving in the car, and they're trying to now escape them for an hour or 45 minutes or whatever it is. So they're in a better frame of mind. Then once they realize the endorphins are kicking in, they feel even better. So do I go through this whole spiel with every single client? No, a lot of them just know that I work at this facility or that facility, or I have my own practice. Since the gym closed, we've had to adapt, and they don't ask me, "Hey, Peter, can I see your resume?" They might see like the I have in my gym set up at the house a rack of all my belts in karate, and do martial arts, and then they'll see a couple trophies and medals and this and that, and that I've had throughout the years. So, and like you've always been, since I've known you, lean, fit. In this business, it does help. Like, you can have all the knowledge in the world from books, but it does help. We wear our resume.
Yes, we have to project our image in a good way. Otherwise, who's going to believe what we have to say? Who's going to come to us, right? Who's going to choose us over somebody else? That's for sure. Yeah. You were talking a little bit about fitness and travel. So can you talk about that a little bit more? Yeah, you come up with a program for yourself, but what can we tell others about when they're traveling so that they don't become so sedentary and just focus on the food and the relaxation? And how do we get them motivated to stay in shape?
I think Ryan Reynolds once said that it took him, months to get in shape for this movie, Deadpool. Then like one day to get out of shape. He's funny. He's comedic a little bit, right? But is it that true? No, he was exaggerating. But you can say to an individual that maybe they're booking a cruise, and I have this one client now. Him and his wife love booking cruises and going on them. They both work, but at the same time, they're able to escape and do these cruises. Maybe, and then the more you do, the more, I guess, discount or coupons you get on the next one or that. So they're always booking cruises. Maybe for a year, I don't know. But I have to tell you, when I met him at Fitness One, and he was in a car accident before I met him, and was seeing a physical therapist for months, and he would not let this guy go. This physical therapist, got him out of a wheelchair and got him walking again. And he was so loyal to him, but this physical therapist, was ready to leave that place and open up his new practice somewhere else. But he stayed with this client, my client now, and it was his only client just to get him walking and deliver him to me, basically. He basically said, Randy, man's name is Randy, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me using it. He said, I'm going to get you walking, but the second you're able to walk, I'm going to move and go open my own practice. So in the meantime, find someone in your local gym and they will take you from here on out. And then he walked into our establishment and met me. All of a sudden, his folder landed on my desk. I called him, and it went from there. The man, he's the type of person, how some clients will stay with you because the trust there is huge. The way you are is really important. Sometimes it's not even your knowledge, it's the way you are. It's like when you take a plug and plug it in the wall, it just works, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he loves going on cruises. So his format, what I train him now, is every time it's okay. So you park your car wherever they launch the boat, and you got to now walk all that way into the boat. Mind you, you can take as many rest breaks as you need. So we have him doing like farmers walks here, trying to simulate carrying maybe a suitcase or a piece of luggage. So anything that makes his normal everyday life easier is what we try to do here. If somebody were coming to me and say, hey, listen, I want to look like Mr. Valenti, that's a whole other thing. It's a whole other format, as you know. But as far as Randy goes and going away and going on vacation, I beg him, I say, Randy, please, I know you're going to go on the trip. I know you're going to, maybe do a little gambling or drinking or pool lounging, but do me a favor. If you book a massage, wonderful. Do me a favor. Walk up to the front of the boat, look at the gym that's there, and see maybe you and your missus can do a little something there. And it could be 20 minutes. Not every workout has to be an hour, Not every workout requires, I got to sit down and wipe myself off. Because here's the thing. These clients, Angela, and you might agree with me, I want them to train so that they can also train tomorrow. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if we kill our bodies, are we going to be up for it tomorrow? Are we going to be too sore? So I always say to every single person, I say, okay, depending on their limit, what they can do, whether they're 25, whether they're 55 or 80, I said, let's train today so that you can potentially do something tomorrow, even if it's not without me, but you can actually physically do something tomorrow. You're not sitting down, popping a leaf and Advil with ice packs on. That's not the right way of training. And I've never trained that way. And I think a lot of it had to do with when I got into this field as a business, I was already seasoned a little bit, like wise. I wasn't 20 getting into it. I was like more like 30 getting into it. And then having my mom's 80 years old. I physically know what she's able and capable of doing. So whenever I questioned, I'm like, that's an 80-year-old physique walking around. Mind you, if she was like, Jane Fonda or fit like that over the years, she'd probably be in a little bit better shape.
Mhm.
But who can be like that? Not everybody can be a Jane Fonda. Not everybody can
Right.
be someone that can invest all this time. But here's the thing. You will find success in fitness if you find one aspect of it that you like. If it's yoga, go with it. If it's karate, go with it. If it's Zumba, go with it. If it's bodybuilding like Schwarzenegger, go with it. It's some area, you have to find some joy in it, because if you're doing it with a rope around your neck, it's not going to happen. And that's why a lot of clients actually need to pay for this to make them do it. It's
Make
not just
accountable. Yes.
yeah.
The only thing is that I try to get my clients to have a rounded program, because if we do too much of one thing, there seems to be weaknesses. It's good to enjoy what you're doing, but change is good too, exposing your body to different kinds of workouts. And there's so many different kinds out there. If you want to do strength training, doesn't have to be with free weights. It could be with bands. It could be I have a Bowflex machine, and so many people enjoy the Bowflex machine compared to free weights, kettlebells. There's so many different ways to strengthen the body. Yoga is great for flexibility, range of motion, but it can also be toning if done in a different kind of way. Instead of saying, oh, I like this kind of yoga or I like that kind of yoga, try it all, expose the body to different kinds of yoga and different kinds of workouts. I see that you have several different kinds of certifications. Do you instill them in most of your clients, or do you kind of stick to what they like so they keep on coming back for more?
It's funny. I guess when like you, right? Like you and me, we're not, I wouldn't call us newbies or green. So we can deliver something that might be uncomfortable for them, but we know they need it.
Uh-huh.
We can deliver it to them in a way that they'll be like, okay, I'll do it. I'll let it go with it because Angela's making it seem fun. Angela's making it seem it's doable. And not only that, we are adjusting our workout to the client. So I'm going to say this right now, that they're saying about, oh, there's no cookie cutter workouts. Those cookie cutter workouts don't work for everyone. Well, yes, they're right to an extent. At the same time, there are basic movements that every single one of us are meant to do and have to do, whether it is activating our exercises with sitting in a chair and getting up, activating our leg exercises. If someone can't squat, how are we going to get those muscles working now? We have to come up with a way to help them to possibly sit in a chair and stand up. So there are like compound movements that are very important for every single one of us. The muscle moves this way or the body moves this way. It should move that way. We should give it resistance to be able to, whether it's a band, a cable, a free weight, an isometric, anything to get that muscle that's intended to work. And you have the knack, I know that because I've seen you doing your thing, to keep them interested, keep their confidence level up top here. Because if somebody doesn't have confidence in doing it, then it's a little, how are they going to have longevity? They might be like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't want to do it. But if somebody has confidence and I can have them do something here in the house in my home gym, then once they leave, I know that they're going to be okay doing this elsewhere. But I might give them a tip. I say, okay, listen, we're performing a simple step up. I know you don't have stairs in the house, but you used to. Like I used to have stairs in the house. I don't have stairs in the house now, but I used to. So let's simulate this step up while we hold on to this railing that we're using. It's not really a railing, but it's something there. It can aid them in. And I tell them a lot of times too, what happens if all of a sudden you're in a taxi or an Uber and the guy says, oh my goodness, I have a flat tire. I got to pull over. And they pull over now. You're in the middle of Old Kings Road and Palm Coast Parkway. You're out of your comfort zone and the curb is this high. Now, can you do it here's a way that you can do it not having a railing. It's the safest way. So I teach them the way they're comfortable with for the muscle to grow and improve. And then I teach them a way that they can do it. God forbid they're stranded somewhere and there's nothing to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the safety factor as well as there too. And this way it gives them confidence to continue. That's super important, I think.
So yeah, functional fitness is high on my list of priorities, especially as people get a little bit older. Being able to do things for everyday life or even to challenge themselves a little bit if they want to go out and go for a walk or be involved in a sport or play with their grandkids. You know, we have to have functional fitness. It's so important. And when you try to get people to do things that you feel like everyone should do, like go up a higher step, they're so surprised at, wow, why is this so hard for me? You know, or taking a longer step, or even getting down on the floor and being able to get up again, you know, little things like that. Being able to pick up that grandbaby, you know, and not hurt your back, all these different things. So we have to strengthen all those muscles with everyday movements with a little bit of weight to get people in shape for everyday life. It's so important. So I work with a lot of people doing that. Do you work in groups also or just one-on-one?
I have experience in training class. Even at Fitness One, we were training in that classroom, and depending on who got that weekend, we got it. And but in the past too, at the gym I used to train at in New Jersey, same thing, classes occasionally. And I actually, one day a week, it just so happened to work out where 5 clients who all know each other, I said, what would you girls think about this? And instead of paying full price, you all pay like a little portion and the trainer gets compensated for it. But we all have a wonderful workout. It doesn't matter. I think the youngest at the time was maybe 25 in the room and the oldest was 81. And of course, I'll demo the exercise, I have the music on, the girls are talking, they love it. But I'm kind of near and close to the 80-year-old, and all the other girls in the room understand why. And we're all friends, and they all have a wonderful workout. They all get a sip of water between set and all that stuff. So yeah, at the moment I do have group training going. I also at the moment am running a fitness class in one of the schools in Bunnell, which is for young kids from 5 to 15. A little bit of, mixed martial arts, cardio, kickboxing. Yeah, and it's in a gymnasium, so they'll run back and forth, how to do laps back and forth, and I'll demo the movement, and then we'll play like a little game, depending on their age group and things like that. So the parents are there. It's very controlled. It's through a company that is out of Arizona. I randomly send them a resume, something to fill my time on a Monday night. So it's in addition to, but my bread and butter at the moment is Monday to Saturday, one-on-one client, occasional group. And it's all spaced out because a lot of it is at my house. At a gym, oh, hey, Susie, Charlie just showed up. Hang on one second. Charlie, jump on the treadmill for about 15 minutes and I'll come get you in a little bit. So it can't run like that now because picture like a studio of all weights and some cardio equipment and things that I use for every single one of my clients. I can't have an overlap unless it's intended to be a class and there's room for the class. And some of these other people they don't all know each other, obviously. So let's just say I have a client at 10 o'clock. My next client would be at 11:30, obviously. So they're from 10 to 11. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next. Be safe outside. Be safe there. If you need to use the girls' room, you can use the bathroom, or if you need a shake, we'll make a shake or something. But at least it gives me a window before the next person comes, and it's not like Grand Central Station. There's been days when I had one person. There's been days when I had 7, and the night before, I'm like, how am I going to do this? It's a break for them in the day also, which is nice, because they're getting out of the house. And some of them who have come in the afternoon, they work during the day. So I do try and let them know. I say, listen, whatever we do in this room here, I like to know what else they have in mind for the day. Are you going home to relax, or you have to go to Publix and Kohl's and all these other errands? Because then I'll tailor our workout so it's not exhausting. I'll give you an example. One client I have now, she was also going to physical therapy before she met me because of something she went through. She would come to see me the day after she went to the physical therapist, and she could not move. She was in pain. And I said, listen, the person may be wonderful. He may be awesome. He or she may know exactly what they're doing, but just do me a favor and let him know this next time. Let him know that you have to go to Kohl's. You have to go to Publix. You're going to be doing some shopping. You have other things in the day that you need to do. So please let him know not to, whatever he gives you, don't deplete your entire energy. Because if we do a little bit every single day, that's going to make our function of life better than, like I said earlier in this interview, destroying your body so that the next 3 days you can't move. Like she did this and told him, she said that he was completely okay with it. And then he realized, I understand what this guy is saying. And it was just a suggestion. I didn't say, go tell that guy. Are you kidding me? I don't have a physical therapy degree, but I kind of, from like you and I working with clients over the years, we kind of get an idea on our limits of what we should do.
Got to be able to continue to live our life and not be so exhausted and broken down to the point where you could possibly get an injury from that. We have to respect our bodies for sure. You were talking a little bit about the kids that you're working with. That excites me. That's amazing. So young children, I don't know how it was when you were growing up. I'm a little bit older than you, but we had PE like 3 times a week when I was growing up, and it never went away. It was all year long. Just the type of sport changed because I lived up north. There was winter. So wintertime, we were doing sports inside, and spring and fall outside. But there was always PE. And now the schools, it's like a semester of PE, and then on to the next thing, whatever their extracurricular activity is for that semester. So it really excites me to hear that you're working with kids. Is that like after school?
Yes. Classes at the moment are probably, I would say, it's a 3-hour window, but there's 4 classes, 45 minutes long. 6 p.m. start time. I go up a little earlier just to set up and get my idea, get my radio set up, all that type of thing. And then by 9 o'clock, it was the last class that they leave. As the night goes on, it's the younger ones at the beginning, and then the more older ones that can handle an 8:15 class, they're out the door 9. And all the moms are there. They'll either drop them off, and there's a girl up front at the school, one of the girls at the school volunteers her time to make sure they sign in, and that sometimes it's parent helpers. It gets them moving. And do they know I do this? Also, I don't think a lot of, it's a little different. Personal training, it's like they know kind of everything about me a little bit, once you build a relationship with someone, right? Especially if you have them come to your house, some of the clients know who Melissa is. They might see my daughter leaving for school or this, or that, or going to work or something. So it's a little bit more personal, where this is, they don't know what I don't think I've had anyone ask me, maybe one or two parents ask me if I do this also full time. So again, because I'm working for a company, I'm not handing out my own business card. It's kind of like I'm keeping the two worlds separated a little bit at the moment, but it's a whole nother thing working with children. It's a whole other thing. Children have a very little attention span. So you have to go from one thing to the next. It can't be 20 reps of squats like I would give to you. It would be completely different. So it's a whole, and they burn out very easy because they'll run as fast as they can, touch the back wall, run as fast as they can back to the spot that they started on, and they're shot. They're like, so it's just fun just to get them moving a little bit. And I think a lot of it has to do with the personality. So if you're an outlaw, and like we all know, growing up, like you said, growing up in school, I remember my gym teacher being like, I had a couple of them. One guy, he also ran a sports shop in town. So we also be like, hey, Mr. Marlowe, we love you. But he was like, he would spit out, he was like a ball player, like the way he looked like a ball player, like a retired baseball player. He'd be chewing on the sunflower seeds during gym. And he was really outgoing. And that's what the boys loved. And then the other gym teacher was a little bit more knew her stuff, but was a little bit more maybe not as enthusiastic as him, more of a dry personality. We still love the stuff she came up with. It was great, but it depended on, like a boy maybe gravitates to guys, like maybe a role model type of thing where the girls liked her, and I completely understand. But we also did not have these back then, the phones that just absorbs every kid's time right now. And it's scary because they're like, well, all day long, leaning forward. They're going to wind up getting major neck problems as time goes on. But,
How many days a week do you work with these children? Is there a schedule?
At the moment, it's 1 day a week because it's set up to be 1 day a week at the moment, but it's getting so large that I believe next semester might have to be split into 2 nights. Again, I was being trained into this. Somebody was coaching me a little bit. And then he said, Pete, you ready? I think you're ready to fly. And it's based on the attendance sheet on who signs up. That's how you get paid. But in the beginning, when I was training, it was just an hourly rate until it's handed over to me, which is probably going to be any day now. The way it works is the more places he can get set up in the state of Florida, because it's a company that's based out of Arizona, and the states around Arizona are pretty busy. But he talked to the owner, and he launched the Florida. He probably has 4 locations at the moment, and Bunnell is the busiest right now, and it might have to branch off 2 separate nights. Again, at the same time, I don't want to cancel somebody that needs me here to go do that. So I told him, listen, let's see how this night goes, and next semester we'll figure it out, because if I have to move people around, you know how it is with booking and stuff like that.
Sure, things are always changing.
Yeah. We're all busy up until COVID happened, and then the world was like, what's going on? And then everybody now still misses Fitness One.
Oh, yeah, I hear that all the time. I mean, there was such variety at that gym, variety of things to do, variety of people that work there. So you can't find another facility in this area that has all that place had. Now everybody's going here, there, and everywhere, and having to put more money out of their pockets. But things change. Nothing ever stays the same, right? And we have to change also to make our lives stay good. So let's talk a little bit about diet and nutrition. Do you help a lot of your clients in that area?
By recommendation, I will do that. I kind of feel that not one diet that might be right for one person, or let's put it this way, one way of eating, right? I believe you're on a system right now where you don't call it a diet, Angela. I think it's just the way you eat. And because of doing it for so long, you have a nice lean, trim physique. Certain ones over the years had tried, Jenny Craig, tried Weight Watchers, tried this, have tried that. And they'll see results immediately. This is from what I've seen too with some of my clients here. But then all of a sudden it plateaus, and that's it. So now what's going on? You're going off of the point system. Weight Watcher has the point system. Oh my goodness, apples, bananas, cherries, this, that, all the fruits don't have any points. So my client, what was this person doing? Overdosing on fruit that had 0 points. But hello, fruit is sugar. You're doing that all throughout the day. You're going to hit a wall, right? It's not going to be suitable to see the scale drop a little bit. Or is it necessarily the scale that has to drop? Is it more your body composition that has to change? So it depends on the person. I think that like owning an automobile, you're going to put lousy gasoline in your car to think it's going to go far, So what's the sense? And I was just using that illustration today with another person this morning saying, picture would you buy a Corvette body, but then pop the hood and it's like a 1914 rusted motor inside? No. But would you buy a state-of-the-art motor, 2024 motor, inside maybe a body from the 70s where it needs a little bit of work? They go, hell yeah. So it's true. If what we're eating is perfect on the inside, all right, maybe our muscle tone's not where it should be, but at least our organs and kidneys and liver, all this stuff is functioning properly. So you can't do 20 push-ups. So you don't look like Jack LaLanne or these guys, or these actresses that look airbrushed on film. So what? At least the insides are working right. So is there one diet for everyone? I don't think so. I tried a few, and I did paleo for 6 months, Angela, last year.
Mm-hmm.
And paleo is basically like the caveman diet. So no starches whatsoever. And I did it for 6 months, right? And I'm trying to get my gains up with certain exercises. And I started having severe pain in my shoulders. And it dawned on me, I'm like, wait a minute, brown rice, a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of those type of things, that is carbohydrates for your muscles, hydration for your muscles, almost like WD-40 for your muscles. So I started incorporating a little bit of carbohydrates back, the healthy ones, and the pains went away. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm 42, 43 now, and I'm going to have to worry about my shoulder being in pain. And sure enough, it was from that. It was from hardcore paleo. So are these certain types of nutrition paths, are they meant to be long-term? I'm telling you, it's still, it depends on the person.
Yeah, we need to give the body the nutrition it needs in order to stay healthy. Making lifestyle changes so that we can get through and do all the things we want to do. And hopefully not overindulging in too many of those bad things. Or if we do, coming back to the program again so that we can feel good, right?
Yeah.
And getting good sleep, too, is so important to let the body rest and recuperate so that we can stay on track, too.
As far as nutrition, I'm not a nutritionist, but seeing what other people have been through and them trying this, them trying that, there are days where I'll get up, I'll make hard-boiled eggs, I'll just eat the eggs. I feel like maybe I went a little too much the day before with certain things, I'll eat good the next day. It's like when you trip and fall, what do? Stay on the ground? No, you get up and you press on and you try not to think about what you did. Just like you said, let's take it from here on out. So, hey, you go rock climbing, you traveled the country and did a bunch of activities. If you perform maybe a crazy feat in a day, like maybe climbing one of the mountains in Colorado, like we went to. Yeah, so what if you're a little hungrier later, where the next day you maybe didn't do so much, you spent a little more time with family and chatting and talking, so your body may not need that fuel. So, well, then again, it's, hey, listen, somebody told me these football players, they're eating like 6,000 calories a day, training and performing the sport. But then when they retire, Michael Strahan, his nutrition program probably changed drastically because now he looks nice and lean. He's in a suit and he's on a TV show, right? A talk show. So if you don't, you're going to, Refrigerator Perry was a football player from many years ago. He was so big, 300 and something pounds in season, right? When he retired, he didn't change the way he ate. He gained another 50, 100 pounds. Wow. To the point where now, why do I have knee problems? football, or is it from just me being too heavy? So everything in moderation.
Yes. Okay. I would like to hear you share maybe one or two success stories, like an amazing success stories of one of your client. We always have people that come to us. It could be health issues. It could be their bodies have fallen apart or they want to make a big change in their life. Do you have a story you want to share? Maybe more than one?
I have two that are off the top of my head, and one of them is a client of mine who was in commercial real estate, and he met me, and he was younger than me, probably about maybe 5, 6 years younger than me, but he was like, I would say 390 pounds. And he goes, Pete, picture a Sylvester Stallone, but very overweight. And with me, he was able to come to the gym 4 days, 5 days a week and put in the time because of his schedule. Maybe the numbers were profitable for him to be able to do this, right? And I would have to say in 6 months, he lost 100 pounds. He literally, his mind, and he was not dating anyone, not going to restaurants. I actually put him on a nutrition plan. And I said, do this. It's what I do. It's the way I eat. You and I are very similar. I don't think you have any food allergies. Immediately you have to know if they have food allergies. But one thing I was told is never go into never tell them, go buy this fat burner, go buy this supplement, vitamin shopper, because there were stories where people did that, trainers did that. The person took a fat burner and then had a heart attack and dropped dead. So we were never told to say, go do this or take this, but you can say, I recommend this. This is what I do. It might not work for you. It might. So anyway, this nutrition plan, a little bit of eggs, a little bit of cottage cheese, some grilled chicken, some fish, no booze, water only, not even juice, just for right now. Man lost 100 pounds in 6 months, right? But I did tell him, I said, this is something where, you're going to meet a girl. You're going to, where a lot of these places end up, in a restaurant, make the right choice. So that was success story number one. He became so not just a client, but like a really true friend, because when COVID happened, and I moved down here and he was up north, I moved out here before COVID happened. He goes, Pete, let's sync up on Zoom and we'll do workouts. I need you, man. I need you. So it was more like, I don't want to use the word psychiatrist, but to exercise, he needed me to do it. And then he had no weight. So we were doing things. He watched me and he would do them at home. This is during the lockdown. He gets married because he's seen this girl, gets married, buys a nice big house. And I tell him exactly what to buy. Money's not an option. He can afford it. He went out and made his gym at home look like mine based on the videos that I would do. Say, buy that, buy that, buy that. He didn't need 100-pound dumbbells. So buy up to whatever you can handle, 30 pounders, whatever it is. But got the mat, got the bench, got all that stuff. So that's success story number one. Success story number two, a whole different dynamic. 80-year-old woman, 81, the client I have now. Husband passed away before I met her. This is, by the way, the client that was going physical therapy, and she told him, listen, leave a little bit of gas in the tank for me to be able to do the other things I got to do. But regardless, she was in a couple of accidents, car accident, somebody rear-ended her. So she got one of her feet inverted, where it's not outside, like the outside of your foot when you walk, it's on the inside. So because of that, her gait's off a little bit, her balance is off a little bit. So we work on that, but that's a long story short. So the real meat to this story is when I met her, she was scared to death of falling. So she would have somebody else take out her garbage can. She would drive to Publix and beg somebody to get her the cart so she could use the cart as balance. She was a good stubborn. She was a good stubborn in the sense that she didn't want a wheelchair or a walker, because she already knew me. I said, you're not using a walker. We're going to get you to walk right. And we're going to get you to feel confident to do the things you want to do in the course of the day. I didn't want her to walk. And I taught her, I said, exercise number one, we're going to learn to get up off the ground. She was scared to death of the idea, but I broke it down in steps for her that she memorized it. That, to this day, we have certain monthly challenges, whether it's bridges on the floor or squats. Everybody loves a squat challenge. Her challenge for the month of November is, and we did this a while back too, but we don't repeat them back to back. So her monthly challenge at the moment right now is in a week's time, you're doing 10 up and downs. So maybe 2 a day. If you do 2 a day, you don't have to do Saturday or Sunday. Pick whatever days you want. If you want 1 today, then 3 tomorrow. So the up and down is basically standing up, squatting till your hands are on the floor. You back your feet to where you're on your knees. And then from there, you got to get back up. So reverse the whole motion. Move the hands up a little bit. Get one foot underneath you. Get the other foot underneath you. Inch your fingers back. Rub your shins. Grab your knees and push yourself to a stand. And then balance. And I don't tell them to stand straight because, you're straight as an iron board. What could happen? You can go that way, right? So I always tell them to be an athletic stance, like a martial arts. So a lot of the martial arts history comes in here and there with some of these clients without even me telling them. But that's success story number 2, that a woman who was scared to death of falling now can be confident enough to leave her car, walk to get a car, and walk into Publix, or take her garbage can out herself because, the driveways are pitched, so something like that. So she's worried about. Going down is a little friendlier, coming up's a little harder because, of course, if you're not lifting the foot enough, your sneaker's going to rub the concrete coming back, right? So it's these little tricks that I explain instead of just saying, do this, do that, and that. You got to spoon feed it sometimes so someone understands why you're saying.
So you built her up and instilled confidence in her so she can just do her normal everyday things in life. That's great. Yeah. Right. So what's in the future for you, Peter? Anything new?
At the moment, daughter's going to be 18 on Friday. So she's finishing her 12th year, senior year. So that's very exciting. As far as I want to do a little bit more travel. I don't get to travel as much. So Melissa and I were just talking about maybe during the winter season, maybe going to somewhere cooler, breaking out the jackets, putting them on. So traveling, and oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you, I just hit my 20th anniversary last month.
Congratulations.
September. So it's huge. It's a lot. So because of that, instead of sneaking away for 3 days in the state, maybe doing something different. So no matter what I do, no matter where I go, I will instill in the clients, and like I instill in myself, whatever you do, just think resistance training, because the military, years ago, you'd see the soldiers with their white t-shirts on the field, 100 of them. They're doing jumping jacks. They're doing burpees. They're doing push-ups. They're doing sit-ups. Maybe they'll do pull-ups. And then tactical training, right? To learn how to shoot, judo, and combat. Lately, scientists and the trainers, the personal trainers that are up here and strength and conditioning coach that are really, really advanced and run the show of this whole market have started incorporating bodybuilding and strength training with these soldiers in boot camp now. So it's not just the old school burpees and jumping jacks and push-ups, it's weights now because of what it does with bone density. As far as you're concerned, you probably already know this. Your clients probably already aware, but I just want to instill this now in these clients that I have now, the importance of bone density, and it's everywhere now. Even the health insurance companies want you to exercise. So it's so much more a thing now than it was years ago.
Yes. I love you plugging that in there, bone density. They say after you turn 30 years old that if you're not doing some kind of resistance training, that bone density can start going down. That's pretty young. Most people don't realize that. And that's about the age when a lot of people, they're getting involved with their families and their children. And it's like their healthy habits are pushed aside because they don't have time for it. So it's important.
But as far as a goal, I know you were asking me, and other clients asked me this year, people, hey, Pete, why don't you open up a gym? And I'm like, and I've seen the owners and the stress that the owners go through throughout the years, whoever owned the gym. Don't get me wrong. My old boss, very successful, owned 3 gyms, boat, fancy car, but the man's stress level was up here all the time. barely got time to exercise, but was always at the gym saying hello, wiping down. He would have his men do stuff too, but WD-40ing the barbells, making them all nice, just to show face. Like the stress level with that is just not something I ever wanted. What I can control is what I have going on at the moment. If I take on anything more than that, the health on me won't be as where it should be. And I want my health good for everyone that I have to be strong for them too. So it's like two knives sharpening each other. Help me, help you, right? Kind of thing. So whenever somebody asks me, I immediately shut that down. Like, I don't think that's what I can handle. Yeah, I'm not an entrepreneur. Some people are good with numbers. And maybe that man up that I knew was great with numbers. And I think the owner of Fitness One was also very successful in another company as well. So I want to do this today, this tomorrow, this the next day. And along the way, have some fun with family, friends, and all that type of thing. And just, I would hope that one day I can be like Harrison Ford, right? I love Indiana Jones. I wish I could be 80 years old and still fit and fiddle and be able to ride my bike and all that type of thing, because it's now. It's what you do now. Getting back to the first thing we said, that people say, I want to look like that. Well, 3 months isn't going to do it. It's got to be a lifestyle.
Definitely. Sounds like you got it figured out.
Maybe. I'm learning from you. And my clients, and I'm just, so that's basically it. But I enjoy this. So
we have to keep our minds open so that we can learn from each other. There's so much knowledge out there, and absorbing from other people what they do and how they do it. Yeah, why not, right? We don't know it all. We got to get our wisdom from other people too. All right, so Peter, can you give our listeners a goal so that they can live a better life and maybe give them a path to get there?
Don't set the bar too high with whatever you want to do, right? If you have an idea, something that you'd like to do, you have to try it. Don't discard it saying that's impossible, okay? Nothing is impossible. Everybody thinks something is impossible until someone does it, right? And I didn't come up with that. That's something that somebody said years ago. And it always stayed with me. That was one quote. Another quote was, don't plan out and say 5 months. In 5 months, I want to be this, I want to be that. Don't rush this, because that's rushing life too. Tomorrow's got its own problems, right? Worry about today. Worry about what you're going to do today, what type of workout you might tackle today, what type of meal you might make today. And then tomorrow has its own thing and its own thing, because if you project, people, they get discouraged real quick because they realize that it might be too overwhelming. And sometimes life itself is overwhelming, right? And we're all just pretending to know what we're doing. So, or pretend to know, and we all have a voice, so let's voice our opinion. But in reality, we can't get overwhelmed because we don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. Look what happened in Maine. Look what happened in Israel. So do what you can today and plan the day accordingly, and don't stress about tomorrow, because tomorrow's got its own anxieties.
Great advice. Life is a journey. Enjoy every single bit of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I know the listeners are going to gain some knowledge from what you've had to share. Thank you.
It's been great. Thank you so much, Angela.
This is Angela Grayson from the Loving Life Fitness Podcast. To help others in their fitness journey. All possible.
It's time to wake up. Here we go.